Have you ever stared into a face that had no body? I have. It wasn't a dream. It happened to me 10 years ago at the Musical Instruments Museum in Brussels. I was working there as a night security guard. It was quiet, boring work, perfect for a student trying to pay off school. Nothing exciting ever happened. Until the night, something happened that I still can't explain. The museum was beautiful during the day, full of ancient instruments from all over the world. Bells, flutes, drums, even ceremonial instruments you'd never heard of. But at night, that beauty turned into silence. A heavy, cold silence that made every footstep echo like thunder. I usually rotated stations, but one night I was assigned control room duty. Just me and another guard, sitting in the dark, watching the grainy glow of CCTV cameras. It was a late-night seminar and we were doing our rounds from the monitors. Then, I saw something. Behind the Tibetan prayer bells, on one of the feeds, was a face. Not a full body, just a face, pale, expressionless, staring directly into the camera. Asian features unmoving, like it was waiting for something. And then, in a blink, it was gone. I rewound the footage. Nothing, no sign of it. I turned to my colleague, but he didn't see anything. Maybe I was tired. Maybe it was a shadow. But I never forgot that face, because I never saw it again. But I felt it. Watching, waiting. A few months later, another evening seminar. There was a concert in the main hall. After my break, I got a call on the walkie. Come to the control room. So I took the staff elevator, the one hidden in the back of the museum. The only way to reach the upper floors without disturbing the concert. I walked through the dim hallway, the lights buzzing overhead. Everything felt off. I stepped into the elevator, pressed the button for the control room. It started moving, but then it kept going. Past my floor, down, straight to the basement. I froze. Nobody went down there at night. That place was a maze, a black void of storage rooms and dead air. The elevator stopped, and the doors opened. It was pitch black. I mean real darkness, no lights, no sound, just an empty, open mouth of shadow staring back at me. I hit the button to go up. Nothing. I pressed it again and again. The doors wouldn't close. Then my walkie crackled, but it wasn't my colleague. It was distorted, off, like someone was mocking his voice, repeating my name, stretched and broken. A bad imitation. My heart was racing. My hand was shaking. Then, finally, the doors closed. I didn't breathe until I saw the floor numbers going back up. When I got out, I wasn't at the control room just yet. I had to cross a small, pitch-black theater first. I stood there for a second, staring into the dark. Then the elevator doors behind me closed and went back down to the basement. I couldn't stay there. So I ran straight through that theater, through the hallway. Every step, I felt like something was right behind me, reaching, grabbing. I didn't stop until I reached the control room. My colleague was there, so was our supervisor, smiling, talking, like nothing happened. I didn't say a word. How could I? What would I even say? That something in the museum was toying with me, that the elevator had a mind of its own, that the basement was calling me? No one would believe me, but I believed it. I knew then I was done. I quit not long after that, and to this day I've never worked another security job. I never stepped back in that museum, and I never want to see that face again. I work in a prison, and I'm about to tell you the night I met a man who wasn't alive. It was my first few weeks on the job, newbie, overtime shift. Just me in the dead of night inside one of the oldest housing units in the prison, cell block 2A. They say that unit has seen more deaths than any other. Stabbings, suicides, overdoses, the walls remember. And that night, I learned, some souls don't leave. It was just past 2 a.m. The place was dead silent, like the building itself was holding its breath. I started doing my count. Inmates are supposed to be locked up, but since it's medium security, they can still use the communal bathroom at night. As I walked down the walkway, I saw someone, tall, skinny, walking down from the second floor. He turned the corner and disappeared into the bathroom. I called out, "Hey, what cell are you in?" No response. I waited. Still nothing. So I stepped into the bathroom. The door creaked as it opened, and immediately the air hit me, cold, heavy, like walking into a freezer. I called out again, louder this time. "Hey, you good? I need to know what cell you're from." Still nothing. I checked each stall, one by one, pushing the doors open slowly, heart pounding in my ears. Empty. Every stall was empty. I even checked behind the sinks, under the counters, everywhere. There was no one in that bathroom. But I know what I saw. I know someone walked in. I stepped back into the hallway, confused, and honestly, a little freaked out. I found one of the older officers, told him what I'd seen, and he just stared at me for a second. Then he asked, was he tall, skinny, with a head sock? My blood ran cold. "Yeah," I said. "That's exactly what he looked like." He just nodded. "Yep," he said. "That's Mr. Bones." Mr. Bones, that's what they used to call him. He was an inmate who'd been there a few years back. He killed himself in that very unit. Hung himself in his cell after months of isolation and breakdowns. They found him too late. But ever since then, officers and inmates alike have reported seeing him. Late at night, always quiet, always walking into the bathroom and never coming out. I tried to shake it off, tell myself I was tired, stressed, seeing things. But a few nights later, another officer swore he saw someone walking the tier after count. We all rushed up, but not a single door had been opened. Not one inmate was out of their cell. Then we checked the cameras. Guess what? Nothing. No one on the footage. I've worked a lot of nights since then, but I never forget that moment. The way he walked, the silence, the freezing cold in that bathroom, the feeling that I wasn't alone, that someone was standing just behind me, watching. I was working the night shift as a custodian at a middle school. Every night, same routine. Long, dark hallways, silent, empty classrooms, the kind of quiet that makes your ears ring and your thoughts wander. The wing I was assigned to clean was shaped like a giant U. I'd start at one end, make my way around, and lock the doors behind me as I went. It was simple, boring, predictable, or so I thought. That night was like any other. At first, I'd locked one end of the U-shaped hallway, just like I always did. The doors clicked shut, and I moved through the last stretch, heading for the other end where the hallway opened back to the rest of the school. The clock was ticking past midnight. The whole building was supposed to be empty. No teachers, no kids, just me and the silence. When I finally reached the last set of doors, I did what I always did. Flipped off the lights. That's when it happened. In the split second the lights went dark, I saw something move. A dark silhouette, small, quick, like a child, darted across the end of the hallway. From left to right. Fast, but not fast enough for me to miss it. I froze. My heart slammed against my chest. There was no way. I'd locked those doors. I was the only person there. But I saw it, plain as day, in the glow of the emergency exit signs. A shadow, shaped like a child, running across the hall. I wanted to believe it was just my mind messing with me, but there was no mistaking what I saw. I didn't wait around to find out what it was. I locked the doors as fast as I could, hands shaking, heart racing, and I ran. I ran to my car, barely looking back, and sat there in the driver's seat, gripping the wheel so hard my knuckles turned white, and drove home. I worked the night shift at this old church, doing the cleaning after hours. It wasn't a big job, just sweeping the floors, dusting the pews. Easy, right? I'd been there 100 times before. Upstairs, there was an old piano. It was tucked away in the attic, gathering dust. I never paid much attention to it. In fact, I thought it was broken. That's why it was shoved up there, away from the main floor. No one ever used it. At least, that's what I thought. But one night, I started hearing piano music. Soft at first, almost like a whisper. I froze, broom still in my hand. I thought maybe someone was playing a prank on me. It was late. It had to be, right? I figured I'd just go up there, check it out, and maybe catch whoever was behind it. You know, just some kids messing around or something. But as I made my way up the creaky stairs, something felt wrong. It wasn't the kind of sound someone would make if they were just fooling around. It was too real. When I reached the attic door, the music stopped, and everything went quiet. Too quiet. I felt my heart pounding in my chest as I slowly turned the handle. The door creaked open, and I stepped inside. There was no one there. Nothing but the piano. I thought to myself, it's just my mind playing tricks on me. But then, something else happened. Something that I can never explain. As I turned to leave, I heard it. A loud, deafening bang from behind the metal closet door. It sounded like someone was slamming it shut. I spun around, but there was nothing there. Just silence. Dead silence. My heart was racing. I ran down the stairs, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was following me. I couldn't leave fast enough. I grabbed my coat, slammed the door behind me, and I never worked that night shift again. The next night, I asked the only other person who worked the night shift about it. I needed to know if I was losing my mind. She didn't even look surprised. In fact, she told me, "Oh yeah, weird stuff happens all the time in that place. You get used to it."